Hi and welcome to this video. Today we're going to talk about the Leica M series cameras and why people choose the Leica M series. So let's roll the intro. So why do people choose the Leica M series? It's a very small full frame camera. Yeah, you heard right. This small camera is a full frame camera. It's the smallest full frame camera you can buy. It's very well made, so it's metal. It's made in Germany, so it's very high quality, and it's also very expensive. The new Leica M11 costs 8,000 euros, only the body. The lens, the 35mm f1.4 lens for this camera costs 3,000 euro, I think. And so these cameras are very expensive, but you can get them for cheap. So I bought this one, the Leica M240, used for 2,300 euros, and the lens is a Voigtländer 35mm f1.4 lens. It costs, I think, 600 euros, so it's much more affordable than the Leica one. This camera is amazing because I carry it everywhere with me because it's so small and it's not that heavy. It is heavy, but it's much lighter than my Canon 1DX camera. This one is huge compared to this one, and it's just too heavy, and you look very stupid if you're running around with this camera all day long through the city, or you going on a hike with this camera. It's much more challenging. So the Leica camera is a full frame camera, and it's a manual camera. So it doesn't have autofocus. You have to use the focus ring right here to manually focus the lens, and you also adjust the aperture right here on the lens. You can change the aperture right here. It's not a film camera. Many people think that it's a film camera, but it is a digital camera. There is a display on the back, and you can use a live view mode to focus also. You can see your pictures which you took, and you can navigate the menu. So yeah, it's a full digital camera, but it's a rangefinder camera. So you look through the rangefinder right here. So I look through this part of the camera, and there is a little box in the middle of my rangefinder, and I have to align the lines of my subject to get it in focus. That way I can make sure that my subject is in focus, and then I can take the picture. This style slows you down in photography, so it's not as fast as the Canon 1DX, where you just go boom, click, and you have the shot. No, you have to stop, take it up, look through your rangefinder, focus, and get the shot, and click and get the shot. It's a slower way of taking pictures, which can be very nice. And if you get used to those cameras, you will be much quicker and even much more accurate. Sometimes I'm even more accurate with this camera than with my 1DX, because with the 1DX, if I try, for example, to capture a subject passing me, I can look at the top of my camera and I can guess the distance which the subject will pass. So for example, at 3 meters, I can set it that way, and I can capture the picture right here like this. If I do it with my autofocus camera, I maybe miss my autofocus and it focuses on the back, or I don't know, I don't have full control with this camera. Sure, I can manually focus, but it's not that convenient with those lenses, with the automatic autofocus lenses. It's much more convenient with a manual lens to focus like that. I can take shots with this camera without getting noticed. I can't do this with my Canon 1DX because it's huge and it's obvious if I take pictures, but with this camera, even if I do something like this, if I'm quick, they won't notice me. So I dial in my focus at the expected distance of my subject, and then I just check and click and do this, and I won't get noticed, which is very important if you want to capture moments without only be the observer of the situation. And if I want to get even less noticed, I can do something like this. So I have my camera right here, and I simply dial in my distance, which I think will match. So you have to guess your distance. So it's 2.5 meters, for example, and I dial it in and I click and I capture the shot. And this way I won't get noticed at all. We're going to look at some shots right now where I did this. So these are 2 shots. The first shot is this one. These are 2 workers, and I just passed them and took a shot, and I didn't get noticed at all. Another shot is a woman with her dog. This one right here. And also right here, I think she's just thinking and in the moment, and nobody noticed me. The dog doesn't care and the woman also doesn't care, because I took the shot like this. I took it like this. I just had the camera right here, and it didn't seem like I took a shot. I just walk and click, and I know how far away she would be, and I can set my camera to continuous if I want to take more than one picture, and it goes like, and I got the shot. And that way you can get really nice pictures. So another thing, I took many pictures over the year. One of the most important things is that I carry this camera always with me, so I can capture moments which I otherwise wouldn't have taken a picture of. So the first moment I have right here, so is the subway in Vienna, a man walking down the stairways. Very nice composition with all the leading lines, and I only got this because I always carry this camera with me. Another shot is during dinner with my girlfriends. I took this picture, also a very nice picture. There you can see the amazing depth of field of the Voigtlander f1.4 lens. And yeah, also in the subway, another picture of my girlfriend, very nice. It's very sharp. You get a lot of detail with this camera, and the colors are very nice. Also in the city of Vienna, great picture right here. And yeah, there another picture, and the last one, another picture of my girlfriend. And you can see also right here, it's very sharp. Her eyes are really sharp. There's a nice subtle flare, and the flares are very cool on the Voigtlander f1.4 lens. So I'm going to show you what I mean. The first shot is a car. It's a BMW i3, and you can see the flares this lens produces. It only produces these flares if you shoot at f1.4 and the sun is hitting the lens from an angle. So only with a perfect composition you can get those nice flares, which in my opinion look beautiful. So I'm going to show you another shot right here, and there you also can see the flares are amazing. So in my opinion they look really great, and you get this only with the 35mm lens from Voigtlander, and only if you use f1.4. If I go to f2 they disappear, so there are no flares anymore. Yeah, this is also one style or one stylistic choice I only get with my Leica. So this camera produces amazing pictures, but many photographers who use Leica say that Leica has a unique look, and for me that is totally true. Okay, now I'm going to show you what I mean by Leica captures shots differently. So first of all, the Leica M240 has a 24 megapixel sensor, and the Canon 1DX Mark II has a 20.2 megapixel sensor. It's not that huge of a difference. In fact, it doesn't make a difference at all if you look at the pictures. But now we're going to look at the file size first. So I made 2 test shots, one with the Canon 1DX Mark II and one with the Leica M240. Both used a 35mm lens, On the Canon I used the 35mm Sigma lens, and on the Leica my Voigtlander 35mm. Both lenses are f1.4. Let's check the file size. So first off, the left one is the Leica and the right one is the Canon. So what you noticed is that the Leica file is 48.1 megabytes and the Canon file size is 19.8 megabytes. So the file is double the size of the Leica than of the Canon. So there needs to be a difference between those two files, because the megapixel count doesn't make up a difference of over 20 megapixels. This doesn't work like that. The Leica does capture more information than the Canon camera. And now we will look at the pictures in Lightroom. So let's open up Lightroom. So right here you can see both shots. So you can guess which one is which. One is the Canon 1DX and the other one is the Leica. They both look very similar. But now I'm going to show you where the difference is. So if I zoom in to this one and I zoom into that one, you can see that the color of the right picture, the color of the baseball, which I have right here, is different than the color of the background where it lays. So the background is a neutral white and the baseball is more of a cream white. So there is a difference in color in real life. I don't know how good you can see it on YouTube because it's compressed, but there is a difference. So the Leica can spot the difference between the color of the ball, the white color of the ball, and the background. The Canon doesn't do that. No matter how I change my white balance or change the colors, the camera captured the color the same way. So it doesn't know that this white is another white than the white on the background. And this is very important. You can't get back this information. The camera has to capture the information that this white is different than the other. You have to edit, otherwise you have to edit the baseball itself to make it look a different color. And this is only white. This occurs in every color. So no matter if you have more information in your skin tones even, and in everything what you capture. And there's only one difference. There's also more information in the picture, which I'm going to show you right now. If I decrease my highlights and I increase my shadows in both shots, I'm going to show you. This is this one and the other one. And yeah, something like this. And now we're going to look at the shots again. And you can see right here that the noise of the Canon shot on the left is much more noticeable. It's also the line, there isn't that much information, so it falls apart more quickly than the Leica shot. Yeah, so here you can see that the dynamic range of the Leica is higher than the one of the Canon in this shot. And you may now say that that's not that important, and yeah, but it is really important. There is a huge difference if you capture red spectrum in 140 different nuances, or if you capture it in only 17 nuances. There is a huge difference in that. And so this camera is nearly 10 years old. So, and also this camera is 6 years old now. I've used those cameras very extensively, and both cameras producing amazing pictures. But you have to know that there is a difference in quality. Every camera has different dynamic ranges, and they see colors differently. So you have to know that there is a difference between a Leica camera, a Canon camera, or any other camera. You pay the price because they test those cameras and they manufacture it on a high level. And most of the other cameras are mass produced because there are literally millions of cameras they are selling. Leica doesn't sell that many cameras, so they can focus on quality. So yeah, there is a difference between Leica cameras and a Canon camera. For me, the Leica is something it's hard to describe. It produces amazing pictures. In my opinion, it produces as good pictures, if even not better than the Canon. And it's a very small camera. It's not so light, so it's metal. It's well made, but it's an amazing camera. You can capture great moments with it. You can carry it always with you and capture amazing pictures. It's just a camera I want to carry with me. It's really amazing, and it produces great pictures. I love to carry it. I love taking picture with this camera, and it's simply a camera which I always carry with me. If I know which shot I want to take, so if I have something in my mind and I know exactly what I want to do, I of course use my Canon 1DX Mark II, because I have different lenses for this camera, and it's a workhorse, and I can take a lot of pictures with it very fast, which is in some cases very important, and it's just a workhorse for professional work. But for everyday photography and for capturing moments, for being in the moment and roaming around and capturing amazing pictures, I use this camera. And I also use this camera for professional work. So I use both cameras on set, and I use the Leica and I use the Canon camera, both. Of course, I use this one for professional work more than this one, but I always like the outcome of the Leica cameras. It produces amazing pictures. If you have a 60 megapixel cameras and it produces a picture which has a size of 50 megapixel, it's not the same. So the 60 megapixel camera will of course produce a bigger image file size, but it has more detail, more sharpness, not more colors, and colors are much more important. And I would recommend, if you're thinking about getting a new camera and fall in love with photography, try this camera. It's not for beginners. I should mention that it's not for beginners. It's for experienced photographers. Of course, you can, if you have the money, please go and buy something like this. But it's just an amazing camera to have in your or with you. I really love this camera. And another thing I want to mention is you can get everywhere with this camera. So for example, if I want to go to a concert or any sports event or any event at all, I can get through security. I can get through security with this camera. I can't get through security with this camera. They will send me back. I have to store it anywhere, because this camera is considered a professional camera and they won't let you in with it. So if you have something small like this, you can get in everywhere and take pictures. And that's really amazing, because it's not that big of a deal. It's a great camera overall. Thanks for watching, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye.